Welcome back. Welcome back. Jesse Moore is back with us after missing a week for wrestling, right? Yeah. He's Skip Bayless Jr. is going through it at the moment. Right? He's struggling early on. All right, episode 6 though. All 4 boys are back in it. Shout out to our man Eli Owens on the last week. He did a phenomenal job. So far it's our highest viewed episode. But all right, let's dive in. Let's dive right in. Georgia Tech. Okay. To be honest, I think Georgia Tech beat Georgia, but I think Kirby Smart won the game for the Dogs.
Yeah.
In a very, stunning game that just ended 5 seconds ago in 100th overtime. And it was actually funny because when we went to overtime, Abby looks at me and she goes, what happens in overtime? I'm like, well, this could end in like 2 minutes or we could be here for a minute. But she got the best of seeing what overtime could happen. But, a good game. The Dogs came back. I don't think we win that game with the old Georgia team. I think the Kirby effect allows us to win games like that when your back's against the wall. We're down 17.5, which sucks. That's been our narrative all year. But the Dogs came back and we won the game. So kind of dig into what your thoughts are from that game, fellas.
I don't think we deserved to win that game at all. I'm glad we did. I was in Mississippi at the Duck Camp, and when Georgia Tech scored with 4 minutes left to go up 14, I went and got in the bed because I thought it was over. And then so y'all should be thanking me because what happened once that happened? We came back.
You don't have the power of
I do, dude.
No.
I did.
So
So then I came back. I came back out for the overtimes, and
Stupid
it was
take.
just like Bo's reactions was something to witness, but my reactions were, I don't know. It was just I couldn't stand it. It was crazy.
You guys didn't have to go through what I went through during that game.
Oh Lord.
Yeah,
All right.
talk about that.
So I had to take a trip. Shout out Lauren. It was so much fun. I had to go to Clemson, South Carolina, and I was amongst Clemson fans during this game. And let's just say it started off with ACC chants, and it ended with me telling them all, "Yeah, how you like that?
Appropriately.
Eat it. South Carolina is going to let you have it tomorrow," and that's the PG version. That being said, Bo, I do disagree. I don't think Tech won that game. I think Georgia won that game. I do think Kirby Smart obviously had a lot to do with it, but I think time and time again this year you've seen resiliency, as Kirby said, from this team. I go back to this, though. I think Brent Key shot all his bullets, and Buster Faulkner shot all their bullets. They did everything they could to beat, as you said, one of the worst Georgia teams that you've seen right in the last 6 years, and they couldn't. And if that doesn't tell you the difference between the state of the programs right now, it's very evident that the gap, while people think it's closing, it's not.
Yeah.
I think it widens a little bit more than people think in the next 2 years. That being said, I respect Brinky to an extent.
Yeah.
I think he's a crybaby, but I respect him to an extent. All right, I'm glad Georgia Tech is, in a relevant 7-5 and 8-4 team again. I'm glad they'll be finished third in the ACC instead of bottom now. I think that's good for the program, but I don't think the gap's closing. It's like how all the Tennessee fans always say how the gap's closing, right? Like, it's not.
I also had to deal with some obnoxious fans. We were sitting at that Mexican restaurant in Batesville, Mississippi.
Yeah.
Bunch of Ole Miss fans in there just going berserk every time Georgia Tech did something right. Just having a prayer that their team might make the playoff.
Oh, yeah.
Well, guess what, folks? You ain't got a chance.
But that's kind of the narrative, though. Every team that plays Georgia typically plays their best ball. I mean, we've seen one team kind of come in where we felt like the underdog and we hammered them, and that was the best game I've seen all year. Right? So, J-Mo, what you thinking, dude?
That was the most entertaining Georgia
Yeah.
Tech game I had ever seen. I remember when we were kids. I don't remember, but Tech was like ranked higher than Georgia.
It was like 07.
Yeah, it was like it might be the only time in my life I remember Tech ever being ranked higher than Georgia. But everybody thought Tech was going to slaughter Georgia, and we went in there and beat them. And like I remember staying up and watching that whole game because my dad fell asleep on the couch, and I was like up watching it. And our running back was King, number 4. I remember him specifically too.
That's 09. That's a Joe Cox season.
Yeah, like breakaway touchdown.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah, that's right.
I remember like that was like the pinnacle of Georgia Tech games. But that game last week beat it.
Yeah, that was a big one.
It sucks because Tech deserved to win that game, but good teams find ways to win football games.
100%.
And I was saying, like, I don't remember ever thinking we were out of it. Like there's times where I was like, this is getting uncomfortable. Definitely uncomfortable. Never thought we were out of it. Even like on that drive that Dan Jackson caused the fumble, I felt like something is going to happen, right? Like there's no way this game just ends normally, and it did. Shout out Dan Jackson.
It was kind of the miracles though you used to always see Alabama pull against Georgia.
Yes.
It was like we need a break,
Alabama
and just Alabama in general, right? And it was cool to see though that's what I'm saying, the Kirby effect. Like that's a game. You flash back, I don't know, 7-8 years ago, or whenever when Rick was there. Like those are the games we would lose.
We would lose, yeah.
We would
you
lose
couldn't
those
finish
games
the game.
every time. Like we couldn't finish.
Dude,
it.
if I'm being honest with you, Georgia 4 or 5 years ago doesn't finish that football game.
Probably not.
Right? I mean, we were the team that got the lead and then took your foot off the gas and simmered out and got beat in the end. And that was 4 years ago. We were doing that with Jake Fromm and them, I will say this real quick. Tech is not a bad football team.
No,
they really are not.
Not at all.
Haynes King is him.
Well, Haynes King,
We're about to get into him.
Haynes King is a football player.
Yep.
He's a good
Yep.
football player that wants to win.
Yep.
His post game press conference had me in tears. Literally, this dude talking about he's like he got tired. Okay, you can call me soft all you want, but I'm like, dude, that is a kid that I want playing football for me.
100%.
100. Like, I want that dude on my team. Brent Key has got the train moving at Tech. They are on the verge of I think Tech's got an ACC title in the next 3 years.
I agree.
I genuinely do. The recruiting classes are getting better. Other ACC teams are slipping. They have the dudes in the right places. I mean, a dude that nobody's talking about, give Haynes King all the credit you want to give him. Eric Singleton balled out.
Yeah.
And that kid is from Georgia. I'm pretty sure he was a 5-star coming out of the state of Georgia. What a stud. I would take him in a heartbeat for the Georgia Bulldogs.
The game itself was it felt poetic. It was fun to watch. And I found myself, like, when I left, I mean, obviously, I know DB, you said your comments with Brent Key kind of irritated you yesterday, but when I left, that the taste in my mouth towards Georgia Tech was so much respect to a team that just went out there and fought. Like, they fought the entire time with a, supposedly could be a national championship favorite team, right? I mean, the Dogs were a 20-point spread favorite in that game. Now, again, in a rivalry game, it's obviously always going to be tough, but it was like Brent Key had Georgia at the top of their whiteboard. And it's like every day ever since we played them last year, it's just like, hey, this is our focus. Like they played us like it was a Super Bowl game.
Yeah.
I mean,
that was their Super Bowl.
It was their Super Bowl.
And it was.
They had nothing to lose, and they were both crying in their press conference. And they had nothing. They didn't lose anything except the fact that they lost to Georgia.
Well,
and that should fire Georgia fans up because there is some true
I think
rivalry in there, and it was respectful.
I gotta be honest with you. We are living in like what could be looked at as the greatest sports era for Georgia sports. Like, I'm just being honest with you.
No, it is.
And how fitting is it that you now have two head coaches for the two main teams in this state? They hate each other more than anything. Both these coaches played ball for that school. Like, dude, Brent Key, and I was like, buddy's stupid when he said this, right? In his press conference when he first took the job. But remember, he talked about 365 days a year we're going to be working to beat that other team.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, you're so dumb for saying that. But, dude, hats off to him, man. Like, I don't agree with him. I don't like the guy, but I do in a sense of I respect him.
Yeah, no, and he can say that, and that's why Brent Key's can continue to be 8-4 and 7-5 because there's 11 other teams on your schedule.
Disagree with that.
That's fine. That's okay. You think Kirby Smart sits there and thinks, "Oh man, I'm going to train for 365 days to beat Florida." No, you got to beat all of them. You got to beat all of them. So don't give me that wah nonsense, bull crap.
I would say
I
I can argue both of your sides. I agree in the sense of you got to be ready to play that team that week, and that's what Kirby lives by. 100%, I agree.
And that's why they drop games they shouldn't have. Because if that was the same Tech team all year, they'd be 11-1 right now.
I mean, they did beat a very overrated Miami team, and so they've Tech was better than I thought they were going to be this year. They were, and I would also argue Jesse's narrative to say if you're prepping for a team like Georgia, I mean, you got to go balls to the wall every day at practice. You can't just say, "Hey, we're preparing for Georgia this week." No, you're preparing for Georgia. They started preparing for Georgia right after that game.
Yeah.
And if that's your mindset to take down the top dog, you're gonna hurt some people. You're just gonna make you better as a team. Like Georgia's making Tech better with that being their narrative of, "Hey, we're chasing the dogs."
Little brother always wants to beat big brother.
The little brother narrative. I agree.
Yeah. And I understand 100% what you're saying. I think that
I agree with you.
I think he
Oh, being cordial.
he's appeasing Tech fans when he says our goal is to beat. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think Tech has had much to play for in the last
No, they don't.
my lifetime.
They haven't.
Beating
Since
Georgia,
Paul Johnson, right?
beating Georgia has been their Super Bowl,
Yeah.
right? And I think that I think they got themselves a football team. And I'm gonna be honest with you, like they're gonna have to replace some dudes on the defensive side of things. They're gonna have to replace some offensive linemen, but you've got the quarterback, you've got running backs, and you've got a wide receiver that is a true wide receiver one. Honest, Eric Singleton, you can put him on any SEC team and he's gonna contribute. That's just honest to God truth. Kid's a stud. And go and look at their recruiting class, where it ranks in the SEC right now. In the ACC. Like Miami's
they're doing
declining, Florida State's declining, right? And Georgia Tech is rising. That's what I'm saying.
Right. So Tech, you can see the sense of pride in Tech. It's like these guys aren't there for the money; they're there because they want to be Georgia Tech players.
No, I do think that's part of it. But you know what? What hurt Tech for the longest time was Paul Johnson. They ran that wing tee option style offense. Kids you're not going to get kids to go play in a program that does it because there's no NFL teams that run that. Now they're running a true spread offense, okay? They got rid of Collins, lousy.
A lot of RPOs.
Right? Remember Collins, the dude that was there before Brick Key?
Jeff.
Lift him.
Jeff like a loser.
The 404. They got a dude who's there to play ball. Like Brent Key is the ACC version of Kirby almost. You know what I'm saying? He's wearing the cutoff.
To an extent.
He is a dude that is there to play ball. We're going to play ball. We're going to get the best athletes we can get. We're going to get the best coordinators we can get. And think about it. They're in a great location.
Yep.
You're in Atlanta, Georgia, okay? Everybody knows Atlanta, Georgia. You got big-time donors because you are the Georgia Institute of Technology, okay? There's big wigs that come out of there. And so it's just a matter of time before they start to build upon what they're doing.
Yep. 100%.
I hope Tech allows him time.
But that's the thing. I don't know. I don't think Tech will ever fire Brent Key. If I was Tech, I would be worried about Brent Key leaving.
And I don't think he will.
I don't think he will because he's a Tech guy through and through.
Kind of like with Kirby, he's a Georgia guy through and through.
Money talks, though, right?
Money
talks, and so that's what. If I was Tech,
not wanting to go back to Alabama.
Yeah.
If I was Tech, I would seriously be like, I got it. I got my guy. Like this dude is good enough to win an ACC championship.
He is.
And so, what do I have to do to keep him here? You got to keep the recruits coming in. You got to keep you. This is gonna sound bad, and I'm sorry. You have to tear down Bobby Dodd Stadium and rebuild it from the ground up. You have to give him more money than he knows what to do with.
See, that's my area of concern with Georgia Tech, and that's why I'm not going to take Georgia Tech serious until they do that. Right in the NIL era, right? Money talks. Money talks. We're all going to be honest. In any phase in which you do money talks, I do not truly believe Georgia Tech is willing to drop a lot of money on their athletics. I really don't.
I can make it really easy for him. Figure it out with Arthur Blank, but Mercedes-Benz needs to be your home stadium.
That'd be cool.
I'd figure that out real quick. You don't have to build a new one. Recruits would love to play in Mercedes-Benz.
You could do something like that. Pitt does that with the Pittsburgh Steelers Stadium.
They name there this year, then they're going to play Georgia there next year.
That's what I'm saying.
You could do that.
Figure that out. Figure that out.
Yeah.
Make that happen.
It's going to be really cool playing at Mercedes-Benz two weeks in a row next year.
Yeah, it will. All right.
We got to move off of Tech.
Hold on. I want to dive in a little bit more. Pass the mic to Brandon. Brandon, I want your kind of thoughts on this too, because you just said his name. Carson Beck was the better quarterback in that game, but Haynes King was by far the better football player. Think about that.
Yeah, for sure. So I was high on Carson Beck throughout the whole year. Beginning of the year, and then obviously all that came in with doubts and all that. But I think Carson Beck is still a great quarterback, a capable quarterback. The issue with Carson Beck, and it showed in the first half of this game, was when his receivers started dropping the ball. If you saw that one moment on the TV, he came over to the sideline and he was so disheartened and just pissed off. And then Tate Ratledge and the other offensive linemen are having to come over there I'm like, hey man, stay in this.
Yep.
But with that being said, I saw where Colby Young might come back on Saturday.
Colby Young.
That would be massive.
Yeah.
But Haynes King, I mean, they don't make him much tougher than
What a
that.
football player.
Don't make him much
Right.
tougher than
And
that.
a guy that I'm going to say it over and over again, Gunnar Stockton. I hope Gunnar Stockton plays like Haynes King. Can
Yep.
run the ball, just
He
add
has
that
the
dual
potential
threat
to.
ability and can run it. I mean,
I
it's
just don't want him to get hurt.
Imagine,
don't want to get hurt. No, you don't. But
imagine what Carson's stats would be without all these drops this
so
year.
I was
And
going to say,
and you get tentative when your receivers can't catch a ball. You lose your innate ability to just you see them and fling it. When you're worried about them dropping the ball, you start really thinking about it, and that just leads to more mistakes on your end, trying to throw literally the perfect pass instead of doing what you know you can do, bread and butter all day.
so real quick, I do think a quarterback can absolutely change the outcome of any kind of game. And I'm going to kind of get into it because you said you don't want to get hurt, but I'm going to kind of circle back to that in a second. But to your point, Brandon, I mean, I put down on here, I think I'm going to say 100% I have poorly judged Carson Beck this year in many ways due to the fact that our receivers lead college football in drops. And the last 3 weeks, the guy has thrown 11 touchdowns, no interceptions. I even saw his name kind of pop back up in the Heisman. Like I think it's unfair to say. I mean, obviously there's a 0 trillion chance that Carson, ever can even get into New York for the Heisman at this point.
Dang it.
But just to say the point that his ability is there, like he is an NFL style quarterback. He's a tall guy. He's quick. He's witty. He's got a great delivery. He fits an NFL stature. It's like, but you got guys like Haynes King who can change the outcome of a game with just their play style, right? And it's not necessarily Carson's fault. I mean, I think Carson's a great quarterback. I just think that our weapons around him have not done him justice to make him look any better at all.
One of these receivers is going to have to step up. Like if we really want to make a push into the playoffs, somebody's going to have to step up and be the guy.
It's gonna have to be Bell or Colby Young.
Bell's not healthy enough.
I think it's Colby Young. I think getting Colby Young back. So I look at pre-Colby Young suspension, right? Because he left right before the Bama game.
Well, no, he played the Bama game.
Played the Bama game.
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah, because he's the one that
That's right.
threw the ball to.
Yeah, on the drop. So he did not play after that.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. But I do think Colby Young is his red zone guy. I do think that's his man.
Yeah.
He's the big guy you're
he's,
missing.
He's a big guy you're missing. I totally agree. But I want to go to Bo real fast on the quarterback thing and Haynes King because while I don't give Brent Key any credit, and I never will because he's Georgia Tech and you all guys like to apparently kiss your rivals' butts, I won't. He has my respect. That's all he'll ever have.
King?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Haynes King has my respect. That's all he'll ever have. He's a jacket. So, I mean, if he goes 0-24 the rest of his career, I won't care. But I do respect him. The guy does play his heart out.
Yeah.
He leaves it all out on the field. And the way he plays, I hope that style is more relevant and becomes more often you see in quarterback play because he does leave it all out on the field.
Yeah.
I agree. And you see quarterbacks like Tim Tebow was kind of that first guy you saw that was just putting his body on the line all the time. Johnny Manziel, another guy that kind of did that. And it's not just the quarterback position of guys that do that. How about Dan Jackson? That guy embodies kind of what I saw from the whole Georgia Tech team. Like, that's what we're used to seeing in our dogs is those guys that just lay it on the line nonstop.
You're never going to see another story like Dan Jackson because of what the NCAA is doing.
Yeah.
Like, I
They're
actually
cutting
hate that.
scholarships, yeah.
Well, no, the player, like, they're going 105 scholarships, but, like, they're getting rid of the walk-on.
Yeah, they're going from like 130 to 105.
Yeah, and to me, that's you're taking away opportunities because if this rule applied, I think Dan Jackson's whole life looks different.
Yeah, I completely agree. And you're not the first one to bring that up. I forget which other podcast I was listening to, but they brought that up. Like, you lose 25 dudes right off the bat, and so that's 25 opportunities. Dan Jackson's probably the best example of that I can think of. Also, I do want to say this. He is, like, literally the textbook definition of targeting every time he hits somebody.
But he loves contact.
And I think that that's the problem with the definition right now of targeting. It needs to be less objective and more subjective, if I'm being honest with you. Like, he lowered the head, and he squared up Haynes King causing that fumble, right? Now,
Oh, I got hit hard.
well, the flip side of that is that they could have thrown targeting on it, and it would have fit
They
their
could have.
definition of targeting.
Yep.
But as far as I'm concerned, that is a great football tackle.
Great tackle.
That's a great
play.
tackle.
They also got away with 2 as well. Like, let's not forget that.
Without a
Well, yeah,
doubt,
and
they
then-
got
and
away with
that's
multiple
that
calls,
game.
too.
It was too good of a game to look
Yeah.
back and pull all that. Well, they should have done this or they should have
Right.
done this, and
Yeah.
and honestly,
Let them play.
Brent Keys
Let them play.
got to learn. You don't do that after a game. You don't bring up, well, they missed this call, right? Like that's what losers do. Don't discredit what your team just did.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Don't boil that game down to one call. You can't do that.
Absolutely. If Brent Key would have went to that stand and said, "This sucks," like everything he said, but if he just would have ended it with, "We'll see him next year," I would have said, "Yes,
Yeah.
you have it now." Like I totally whine. I'm out.
You did. So let me ask you this: you didn't like the Haynes King after the game, crying in the post game?
No, I love the emotion.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
He's
I'm like,
talking about the next day. What Brent?
yeah.
Yeah, like
I was just genuinely curious.
yeah, no,
I saw that, and now because I watched it live. Like we were, I kept the press conference on when I was getting ready to go to bed, and I'm just like, I stopped, and I'm
Again.
like invested now into Georgia Tech's
Right.
quarterback talking about it, and I'm like, oh my God, like I remember being 10 years old and losing the rec league championship and feeling like, man, I just ran the ball every play and I tried my hardest every play and we lost. Like, but obviously I'll never be like how he was, you know what I'm saying? But that was like, I feel like that's relatable for.
No wonder
I've been
y'all
looking
lost.
at me
You
funny.
ran the ball. That's why you lost.
There's
a reason.
There's a reason y'all lost.
Okay, dude.
Yeah, the shocker. I mean, look at you and look at him. He's
yeah,
not
that's
shifty.
true.
Not an
Well,
athlete.
Bo was also
Great wrestler.
like 13.
Well, Bo
playing
was
against
freaking also
8-year-olds.
18
Bo
years.
was also a concussion.
Yeah. Bo was 18 playing 13 years
Bo's
old.
dad was
football.
sprinkling
You had to
testosterone
concussion.
in his cornflakes, dude. Yeah.
Come take your medicine, Bo.
It wore off quick.
If Bo hit you, dude, you had a concussion. That
But,
mofo would
but
drop
y'all
that
know what I'm
head.
saying,
I know what
right?
you're
Like
saying.
that
I know exactly
feeling,
what you're
y'all, especially y'all played sports at a high level.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
yes.
You know what it's like to
Yeah.
walk off that field saying that there's nothing else I could have done.
Oh, 100%.
Like there's,
Yeah.
And that was that. I was like, man, like I like this kid. Like this kid, if you wanted to come and play at Georgia, dude, like you can hold kicks. I don't know, like you can do whatever we need you to do. Might end up breaking the lineup, like.
yeah, I might.
Like,
Yeah.
he's a ball player, man.
He's good.
He's a Bo Nix. Like that's like a Bo Nix to me. Like
A little
dude,
more, a little more gritty with the ball.
Downhill.
A little more
He's
downhill. A little
downhill.
more old school.
But,
I'm
like,
gonna knock you out.
he's not gonna
Which I
light you up with his
love.
arm, and he's also not gonna burn you with his feet.
Right.
But he's good enough with both of them together to beat you.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So all right. So let's move on.
Because the opposite of
We're gonna
Cardale
move on
Jones,
to-
big dude sit in the pocket, throw it a mile. That is not.
All right. Here. So let's move on to the coaches. All right. And I know we're kind of talking about Brent Key, and I had this written out. All right. But you see guys like Kirby Smart, and I did put Brent Key down before he made those comments the other day that irritated you, DV, because at the time I was so bought in. And I still am. I'm not going to discredit him too much. He just made an emotional comment, even though he had a day to think about it. Whatever. It really hurts him, so that's what he's going with. And then Dan Lanning. All right. These are coaches that really care about building men on the team. These are guys that actually care about their players and their team, and they love. Kirby Smart loves the dogs. Brent Key loves his freaking jackets. Who else? Kalen DeBoer. DeBoer. There we go. I mean, Dan Lanning loves his teams. These are good coaches. What about Ryan Day?
I was thinking that the whole time you're talking, and this is just my thoughts. And I said this last year: when you assemble a $20 million football team, supposedly the pinnacle of football teams,
Yeah.
and you can't beat a 6-5 Michigan in your home stadium, I expected him to be fired as soon as the game was over. He's never won a big game,
But
and he can't beat Michigan.
yeah,
That is
no,
I'm talking about.
That was a big game against a bad team. It wasn't like a
but
Georgia
that's the
Yes.
game. That's the game.
That is the worst.
Yeah.
That is the worst Michigan team he has played in the last 4 years, and they beat him in his own building. Embarrassing.
Yeah, but like
He sucks.
Here's what I'm going to say about Ohio State faithful, and you're not going to like to hear this, but it's true. You won 2 national championships in the last 60 years. You act like you're this great, fantastic. You act like you're Alabama.
Under the pedestal.
Yeah, like you're not. You've played in a really bad conference
Not.
most of like the history of it. You played bad football. Like the only good football team you've ever consistently played is Michigan, and they continue to prove who's daddy, right? Like
I can't believe that those seniors are 0-4.
they're 0-4 against them. But then I go to this, Brandon. Like you made the comment, $20 million roster, right? That's because like those kids were bought.
Right.
So
That's what I hate about the NIL. Those kids were bought. They weren't recruited.
Yeah.
They didn't have love for Ohio State.
Yeah. So on the Ohio State train, I bet you they're sitting back right now and thinking, man, we messed up losing Kyle McCord.
Oh yeah.
What he's done at Syracuse, dude, McCord's way
Not
better
just
than Will
that,
Howard
Fran
ever
Brown.
will be.
Not just that, Fran Brown.
I mean, that
Fran
dude is a
Brown.
gunslinger. But Fran Brown, love him, go Dogs.
If Kirby
But-
retires for some reason the next
yeah.
5 years, go hire Fran Brown.
But Kyle McCord, they made a big mistake losing him.
Yes, I mean,
D. Hannah.
well, obviously now you see that McCord was not the problem. McCord was not the problem.
No,
Ryan Day was.
Ryan Day's a big
Day.
liability.
You want me to take this real quick? All right. I love rivalry week. I love rivalry week. There we go. Yeah. And the reason being is because how many games had Michigan won before that? Were they at 6? They were at 6. Okay, so they were already bowling. That game was 100%. We want to beat Ohio State because screw Ohio State. I love it. Like I love that rivalry a lot. I hate both teams. I love that rivalry because of how much it means to them. I can't speak right now, dude.
What is going on?
I literally don't know.
It's kind of hard to say.
I do, man, but not English. I teach them history.
Yeah,
But I say that to say like, Michigan could be 0-11 and get up and play well enough to beat. Like they still have athletes at Michigan. You know what I'm
saw
saying?
with Tech and Georgia.
Right. Like these teams can get up and play. I was hoping Auburn would have a little bit more for Bama, but they didn't have anything for them. But
they're so bad they lost by 14.
still, though, Ryan Day, I guess Ryan Day still has an opportunity to fix the narrative, right? You're in the 12-team playoff. Thank goodness for Ryan Day, right? It's a 12-team playoff this year. He's going to get in. He's going to catch Tennessee first round. If you beat a Tennessee team, then you're able to kind of right the ship, right? Keep going. But unfortunately, when you spend $20 million on a football team, right, it is national championship or bust.
Yeah.
That is the reality of your situation now.
It is.
You set the expectation to be that. Their problem is that they don't have a system. There's no system in America where you can bring in as many transfers as they did and have them ready to play the games that you expect to win. You can't.
I think it. So I agree, but where I disagree, man, is because sports in general is love and passion, right? If you have love and passion for it, you tend to freaking play harder. And I just generally don't think that $20 million roster has love and passion.
So that's
for
a culture
Ohio
problem.
State. That's a coach problem.
Yeah.
All right. So I go back. I don't know the linebacker's name. White linebacker, Ohio State. The guy that picked the ball.
Jack Sawyer.
Sawyer, right? So
Yeah, that's
supposed
a crazy video.
right. And then they plant the flag. And who's up there screaming, "I'm not going to let them plant the flag."
Jack
Almost
Sawyer.
Right, because I genuinely, and that was probably the best player on Ohio State this year.
It is.
Right, and it's weird that that's your best player, and that's the guy that probably loves that university and that football program more than anybody else on that football team.
So I'm going to say that the culture thing is a big tell to your coach, obviously. You wouldn't see that happen with Kirby Smart. You wouldn't see his team upraging, fighting on the field like that.
Not even
You know why that is?
The board
Because no team can come to Athens in the last 3 or 4 years and win in Athens. They ain't going to be planting no flag in
But-
Sanford Stadium.
But so this is what I'm saying though.
But next year, yeah.
Some of these coaches are painting the narrative of like your image, like these guys' image, and like don't let them disrespect you, this and that. But like Kirby's all about like, hey, let's just think about the team. Let's think about us. Let's keep it in our culture. Like let's stand up for our brothers. Like let's not make this about an image thing. Like they're disrespecting us. Like no, this is our mission, right?
He's got the fans involved in it. Like,
He does.
we're a part of the team,
Right.
Like we have
Um,
a say in what
I
got
will
us
say
bought in.
this: if I don't know who the AD at Ohio State is, but if Ohio State's gonna make they're already in. If they lose the first game in the playoff, right? If they play Tennessee and they're probably gonna host Tennessee, right?
Mhm.
If you lose that game, and I'm the athletic director, I am moving on from Ryan Day.
Well,
PJ Fleck.
first thing you do is
Oh,
you
I
call
like PJ Fleck.
dirty Urban Meyer and say, "You idiot! You made me hire this guy." Obviously, Tim Tebow bailed you out enough, and then you fire Ryan Day.
It was just the most
Yeah.
absurd thing to me to watch. And what I would do is I would probably already had this meeting with him. I'd have brought him in, and I'd have been like, "What's going on?" And I'd have showed him the video of him standing there while Jack Sawyer's yelling that they're not going to plant this flag, and Ryan Day standing there with his hands in his pocket, watching everything go down. Like that to me tells me you have no control of what's going on, which is that's a problem, right? Which is why this is happening. Which is why you got beat at home to a 6-5 Michigan team.
Even his comments after the game, like in the presser, they were like, he was like,
We're not going to let.
He's
them
like,
do that.
we're not gonna let them plant
You're
that
worried.
flag.
You're worried about the wrong.
Yeah,
things.
you had 60 minutes and let him plant that flag.
You're
bro.
worried about the wrong thing.
Yeah, you're worried about the wrong.
But then
things.
I would show him the videos of Mike Norvell and Billy Napier and Steve Sarkisian when their teams try to do that stuff and they're in the middle of it getting control, right? Like the lack of attempt to get control of the situation is a defeated man.
And Michigan,
You know who else has zero control?
I'm about to get there. You don't worry.
Kalen DeBoer.
I was going
If
right
you
to
look-
it.
No, if you look at last year or whenever when Bama went to Texas
Agreed.
and beat them, and all Bama's players are out there doing the horns
There
down
ain't
stuff,
no
and
Nick
Saban
Saban,
walks
dude.
by and goes, "Y'all stop that!"
Yeah.
Kalen DeBoer ain't
Yeah,
doing that.
no.
That team has no
No.
respect for
And,
him, and that's why his
Jesse,
players
where
act
was
like a
DeBoer when what's his name was over on that sideline fighting? Was he running out there? No. You know who he was looking at? Hey, why didn't you throw a flag on them? They did it. Why didn't you throw a flag on them? Complaining to the ref.
Look, I said some nice things about Kalen. I want to give some context. I said some nice things about Kalen DeBoer before
That are
Georgia
false.
played Bama,
That are false.
and
Jesse thinks he's legit.
He's been hounding me ever since about this.
Because Jesse
okay?
won't admit he's wrong.
Hey, buddy. So the way that the mics work is that when you talk while I'm talking too, they hear two people talking at the same time.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know.
We're going back and forth.
Okay, I just didn't know.
It's
like,
okay. Little
Skip
man.
and
Go.
Shannon going at it.
If you want to talk. I will
No,
stop.
go, little man. Go.
Okay, I get it. This Bama team looks way less disciplined than they ever did. I don't think they fear Kalen DeBoer, which he's got to get control of that. You know what I'm saying? I think Georgia players fear Kirby Smart, like they are afraid of what's going to happen if they act wrong.
Yeah.
I don't think Kalen DeBoer's established that yet.
Here's the belt.
He didn't recruit a lot of these kids, right? So like I think that has something to do with it. You brought up I don't know why they didn't throw the flag on Auburn too right there though, because I was thinking the same thing. Like he had every right to sit there and chew that ref out. That should have been a flag on both sides. I mean, both sides threw punches. There's two Bama kids isolated on that sideline in a swarm of Auburn kids. You know what I'm saying? The officials should have done a better job of throwing both flags, offsetting, get back to playing ball. That seemed to me like, well, you're winning the game. You shouldn't be doing this. You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's a Ryan Day comment.
okay. All right.
What's our next talking?
Okay, so to wrap that little segment up, it's most like the fighting. Like you see, this was a big problem during the rivals week. It was a lot of fighting going on.
Oh my gosh, dude, there's so many issues with college football right now. Throw trash when you don't like your penalty.
It's crazy. It's crazy. There's
Plant
a
the
lot-
flag when you beat your rival, so you can get.
Yeah, I was gonna say Michigan's not off the hook either. What they did is still like
No, they did wrong.
they did wrong.
No.
They did wrong, and Baker Mayfield did wrong first. And
But-
everybody just kind of does wrong as well.
He's a trendsetter.
The only solution to that is
Yes.
that as soon as the game's over, both teams have to leave the field.
Another guy that plays hard, Baker Mayfield.
Well, what do you think? What do you like? What is the solution, right?
I think it's more of the conference intervening, like whether I know it was Tech and like ACC, SEC, right? So let's say Tech were to win, because let's be honest, the class between Brent Key and Kirby was all Kirby, because if Tech would have won, they would have won and pulled the hedges. Right?
Yeah.
So like if that were to happen in this scenario, like the ACC needs to step in, fine, potentially suspend players for half of their next whatever game it may be. Conferences have to step in, put on their big boy pants, and really look in the video and figure out who's wrong, who's right. Let's get this figured out immediately. Find whatever program needs to be fined.
Well, I think like the financial repercussion. I think that's a slap on the wrist. Like, I mean, I think for the Michigan Ohio State, right? Both teams got fined $1,000 or $100,000 each.
Yeah, that's why I said the players should be suspended.
That's what I'm
as
saying,
well.
like
that's going to make these kids think a
But-
little bit more
But
about their
you can't
actions.
you can't hate Ohio State for retaliating.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Thoughts, Brandon?
you
I'm just.
Oh.
you plant your flag on my field. I want my players to want to fight you now. You know what I'm saying? Just I can't believe Ryan Day sat there and
Just
he
let it
wasn't
happen.
even attempting to gain
Right.
control of the situation. Like you're a defeated man. Like
Right.
you gotta.
All right, next segment.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let DB start, and then Brandon, you give your thoughts on this, just because DB was there. DB witnessed it. He was all about it. We're gonna eliminate. We just kind of. I'm gonna say that was our Michigan upset discussion because obviously Ryan Day, you're a coward. You're a coward. You're a chump.
You're a baby.
You're a baby.
There isn't one bigger than this one.
But get on the Beamer train. Get on. What's his name? The quarterback.
Lenora Sellers.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sellers.
Do you mean Heisman Sellers?
Heisman Sellers is little Superman.
No, he's not.
Let me tell you something.
Yes, he is.
I spent the weekend in Clemson, and the disgust I got to see from that Clemson fan base and the things I got to hear were outrageous, and I enjoyed every second of it. I loved South Carolina. I love Shane Beamer. I love me some Beamer ball. I love a wild card factor. Now he's also the reason they're 9-3 and they probably won't be in the playoff, but I love it. All right. When Clemson Saturday morning, sky high. Oh, we're going to be in the playoffs. We're going to win this game, this and that. We don't have to worry about playing an AC championship. All right, Clemson fans were all this good. They get beat. Ooh, the biggest beggars you've ever seen in your life. Please, Syracuse win so we can play an ACC championship, please. Syracuse wins. I'm not lying. They were throwing a parade, it felt like, in that city. Go Q! Oh, go Orange! We love you, Fran Brown. And I'm sitting there thinking, yeah, you're pretty much thanking Georgia, you bums. Clemson. I did hear this from a Clemson fan. All right, and this is what was funny to me. I wanted to share this with y'all. All right, to show you how delusional some fan bases can really be, because sometimes I think I'm delusional. Well, since we're playing in our this is what he said. Since we're playing in our conference championship, we should stay ranked in front of teams like Alabama and South Carolina because we made our conference championship. And I walked away immediately because that was by far the dumbest comment I've ever heard in my life. That being said, La Heisman is what South Carolina fans call him, Seller. They call him La Heisman. They love him. The glasses have came off in the last 6 weeks. He's not wearing the specs anymore. All right, and he's become like Clark Kent-like. That kid is a baller. That kid can play football. He is so fast. He is, dare I say it,
Cam Newton.
a dark horse for the Heisman next year.
Oh.
And probably Cam Newton.
Oh.
I'm being honest.
Yeah. He's going to be in the discussion.
The guy,
100%.
dude, I'm telling you, watch him play. He's literally, the kid is from South Carolina. He grew up from outside Columbia, right? He has got love towards the Gamecocks.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
He's going to pour everything into that program.
I mean, I think he's. I'm on the.
Because you sound like you had some.
Yeah, I'm
You-
on the.
I
I'm
said
on. I'm
Superman.
on the Beamer hype train, dude. I
You
think
said-
he's legit.
You said no to Superman.
So argue this point that against LSU, whenever it was, they had a pick six called back that was like the clearest penalty ever that shouldn't have been called. If that doesn't happen, we're sitting here tonight and South Carolina's in the playoff right now instead of probably Bama.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's any team necessarily
Wait,
as
what
hot
happens?
right now than
All South Carolina had to do was clutch up that game against Bama. They had Bama beat, and they blew it.
Yeah, I mean, but there's a lot of hypotheticals. But at the end of the day,
Correct.
They beat LSU, and SEC officials took that away from them, just like they tried to take Texas away from Georgia.
They did.
Yeah, that didn't work though. 15 points later,
Yeah,
No,
15
it
points.
did.
horns down.
This is true. But I 100%. I see what you're saying. I agree. Okay.
All right, I know Jesse. Here we go.
South Carolina is the most dangerous team in college football right now,
Yes.
Retweet.
hands down. They have
Yeah.
caught lightning in a bottle.
Rocket Sanders.
They have found something in the run game that is ridiculous. Like
Insane.
it's if I'm being honest with you, everybody knew that Raheem Sanders was the dude,
Dog.
right? He's a dog, and they
Dog.
have a good offensive line right now.
Tough.
With what they have figured out is that Lenora Sellers moving outside the pocket
Superman.
it's so, nobody can run with that kid, man. Like, and also I would like to say saw Sammy Brown started that game for Clemson.
I
He
didn't even
did.
notice.
Yeah,
He
Sammy
did.
started it.
And then for some reason, I don't know why, poor coaching. he played less snaps in the fourth quarter than anybody
Was
else.
he playing
on
good?
that
Was he
defense.
playing good?
He was leading the teams in tackle in the first half.
No,
I didn't know. I don't know his
No
stats.
way.
I just saw him playing, and I saw.
Oh, he was moving well. He was playing physical.
Come to Georgia.
He should have came to Georgia.
Come to Georgia. It's not
That's
too
his
late.
fault. He followed a fake prophet.
Well, I will say this. Real quick. My take on South Carolina. Okay,
Dabo's got
Lenore Sellers.
respect on his name.
Lenore Sellers' ceiling is the highest of any college football player right now.
Yes.
Like the kid can run for days, but the problem is that the games they have lost has been partly his fault. Like he makes mistakes late in games that are like, dude, what are you doing? Like,
but he's grown from them.
it seems like he's gotten
he
better,
has grown.
and also
He has
the
grown.
coaching's gotten better. Like,
Well, Shane Beamer's not
Dude,
used to big moments.
but that's
Beamer's
what I'm saying.
gonna
Like,
get his
I'm not on the
fair share
Beamer
of that.
train, bro.
I
Beamer,
agree.
first off, half of Beamer's hype comes from his dad. Okay, who his dad was at Virginia Tech or at Virginia. Was it Virginia Tech? I think it's Virginia Tech. Yeah, dude. And so he has a lot of potential. All right. Gamecocks have a lot of potential. Pump the brakes on the Heisman stuff. Okay. They have to win the games they should have won this year in order for that kid to win the Heisman.
Next year.
You know,
If they do, I mean, if they can
Hold
win
on.
those games, but
Hold on.
Why should Travis Hunter win the Heisman? They've got like 3 or 4 losses.
Hold on.
Easy. You're speaking too much sense. Stop that.
hey, I'm a Genty guy. I want to make that clear. I'm a Genty guy.
Hold on. Don't get ahead of ourselves. Hold on.
But yeah, that's my take on South Carolina.
Do you know who South Carolina's head recruiter was? Like 2 years ago for like 4 years in a row. Who it was? Drew Hickson. So Drew's got all the insight. I'm pretty sure Drew was the one that recruited Sellers.
It probably was.
Next
I
time
think
see him,
Sellers
I'm
was a
gonna-
lock.
I'm
I,
gonna
and
have to punch him. For
I know.
that one.
I remember Drew would come up to me and be like, "Dude, you're not gonna believe who we just pulled. Like, watch." I was like, "No way." And
Oh.
it was cool to see, like him tell me it before it
I'm just
happened.
gonna say this about South Carolina. Okay, they lose their running back after this year. They lose part of that offensive line. They lose that defensive end opposite of the freshman. The freshman's Stewart, right?
Yes.
And so the kid on the other side, also a stud, they lose him to the draft. You know what I'm saying? Like they have to fill those pieces because I genuinely think that they had a college football team that was that built for this year to go and make a run. They just lost the games in the big moments where they needed to win them. Like they looked completely unprepared to be in the football game against Bama. I don't care what anybody says. Watch the last 5 minutes of that game. They looked like they had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
Okay. The same for that Texas A&M or for the LSU game. The refs threw the flag on that play, but regardless is why is that kid making that hit? Do you think I mean,
Well, it's because
That seems to be
he went out to tackle. Once a quarterback goes out to make a tackle, he becomes a player involved in the play. He's no longer just a person sitting there. He's going to make a play. Therefore, are we going to go to this thing where, oh, don't touch him, he's a quarterback? No,
No.
he's going to make a. He's
go
going to
watch
tackle him.
film. You put your hands up. Put your hands up. Get in his way. Put your hands up.
Don't get in the way.
That's
Run.
textbook. Put
Oh.
your hands up. Get in the way.
Oh yeah. So when Haynes King was running up the middle, Dan Jackson should put his hands up and not hit him.
Oh my
Again, they're
gosh.
different. They're different.
It's
Yes,
not-
but no, don't get in the way. Don't make a football play if you don't want to get hit.
I'm just saying, like, that is a coaching point, right?
Yes.
You teach your defense. Anytime somebody gets a pick, you start blocking downfield. If you have to turn around to block somebody, you put your hands up and get in their way. Regardless of who it is, if it's a quarterback, if it's a running back, whoever it is, you don't turn around and lower the shoulder on somebody behind you because they will throw a flag on that. You put your hands up and get in the way. So that way they can't make the tackle. They still can't make the tackle. You know what I'm saying? And you take away the ability for the penalty to happen. I'm just saying, Beamer had lightning in a bottle this year, dude.
Well,
He had it.
I don't even think it's Beamer's fault. I think it's SEC's fault because they generally thought LSU was better than what they were.
They thought that about everybody. They thought Georgia was better than what they were. They think Texas is better than what they are. They think, dude, college football is so awesome right now.
All right. Next statement. Good. Let's talk about Nick Saban's quote unquote favorite player in college football real quick.
Scatabo.
Yep. Cameron Scatabo. Nick Saban said, "Watch this guy. He's my favorite player to watch. This dude is a stud." And I didn't know that, dude, his stats are insane. He's got like a hat trick in the first half in like the last like 3 games or something like that. This dude's a freak. And Arizona State, I mean, who do they play? Iowa State? I think they're going to
Yeah,
be
go ahead and put Scatabo down for another 3 tutties on Saturday.
I agree.
The most impressive. Oh, sorry, man.
Oh no, I'm done with that one.
My thing with Scatabo, man, is if you watch him play, it's the breakaway speed. At any moment, he can hit a home run.
and he's thick. He's
He's
a power,
thick, like,
he's a
he's-
power runner.
He'll play on Sunday.
Yes, he
Yeah,
will play on
He's
Sundays.
like Peyton Hillis.
Yeah,
He's
dude,
just faster.
he goes,
He's a good
and
running back.
He's fast.
He's a true back.
it's
Yeah, that kid will
I'm
play on
impressed
Sundays.
by
Somebody
him.
would utilize him. The 49ers would take him right now.
49ers would love him. I mean, he's physical. He's downhill. He's got
Oh,
great
by the
balance,
way.
great speed.
Did you know?
Peak male.
Did you know that Jordan Mason went to Tech?
Yes.
I had no
Yes.
idea that.
Yes.
I found that out yesterday, and I
Yes.
was like, what?
Watched him play college ball. Didn't even know it.
Yep. I did.
Sorry that you had to go to Tech, buddy, but
Unfortunately. Heisman talk.
Let me let
Genty or Hunter?
There is only one clear answer here, and if anybody says otherwise, you just don't know football. It's Genty. If you look at rankings by stat position, like Travis Hunter and interceptions, way down the list overall. All this stuff, he's way down the list. If you look at the list for Jenny, first. He has a chance to beat Barry Sanders' record.
More games though.
Yeah, but
it's not
still,
the same.
it's-
No.
yeah,
Well,
but-
wait.
But with
Hold
that,
on. Hold on. I'm going to help Brandon out because you can't say, oh, it's not the same because it's a different time era. Because when
It
Roger
is.
Maris beat Babe Ruth's home run record, they changed it to more games.
yeah,
Right? So if we can keep arguing the past sports, then we can go all the way back to Babe Ruth is still a home run leader
Yeah.
in a certain amount of games.
But
But
this
Travis Hunter-
is no disrespect to Barry Sanders at all. But a lot of those guys he played, man, they're great retired electricians now.
you think that Boise State's playing world beaters?
Oregon.
look what Ashton Genty did
Okay,
against
no, so-
the
No,
number
no.
one team. It was
Here's
a
my next
3-point
question.
game.
So if they're not playing some of the best teams in Jesse, is that what you're saying right now? Boise State's playing what, world beaters? Is that what you just said?
So they're not playing world beaters.
Well,
They're
they
not
played the
playing
number
world
one
beaters.
team in the country.
So my question is, then why hasn't every running back that's in a group of 5 ran like this before?
Not Ashton Genty.
Oh, so he's a generational player.
So what I'm hearing here is
He's
I'm
a
going to
Travis
give this
Hunter
to
fan.
Jesse like the people in New York should give this to Genty. Here's your Heisman Trophy. Continue. Okay.
Look, I'm not. He is my pick to win the Heisman. He is a stud. He will play on Sundays. If he had another year, I'd say find your way to Athens. Although we got a kid that I think is just as good who's a freshman right now. Okay. I am just saying, okay, if he played in the SEC, if Boise played in the SEC, he would still put up great numbers, but he wouldn't have all the touchdowns he would
I
have.
bet if Travis Hunter played in the SEC, he'd be fantastic, right?
No.
I'm probably about to get just blamed.
So who's your pick?
It's Genty. It's obvious. It's Genty.
I'm
All right.
about to
That
get
being said,
blamed,
I'm not
so-
going to take anything away from Travis Hunter. He is so above average at cornerback. He is so
Yes.
good at wide receiver. All right. And I love that he's great at cardio. And I can't wait for him to be one of the biggest first round,
Bust.
first pick busts since Jamarcus
Yes.
Russell.
Thank
I'm
you.
so happy for him.
I'm glad you said that so I didn't have to because
But
I was
I'm
going
not,
to get
like,
blamed.
he's a great kid, though. Generally,
I think
probably
he's
is
overrated.
He's a great guy. He's a great dude. He loves playing football.
His coach
All right.
irritates me.
His coach does irritate me, but I know Deion Sanders
well,
does love him.
Dion
Yeah, and
going?
Jesse, you have a trend right now, though, of not liking any, like,
was.
not having a good history of picking the right coaches right
So
now.
what about
As far as
Dion
not
going?
Kirby
I
Smart.
will give you my Jim Thorpe award since
hated
you
that.
didn't make it. Well,
That
there's
made
a
me
reason you
upset.
didn't make it, buddy. You aren't putting up nowhere near the numbers as all these other defensive backs. Sit over there and shut up.
Yeah, see, that's my issue
Overrated.
with Deion real fast. My issue with Deion is sometimes he makes it about himself, which
It's
I
an
get.
image thing again.
Yeah, he's
It's the image
yeah,
thing.
it's a persona.
Like Ryan Day.
It's right, like I'm just it's
We
whatever.
had a great discussion about this
We
the
did.
other day.
But
It was awesome.
that being said, it's Genty by a long shot. Don't tell me the more games. Don't tell me this, because if that was the case, Derrick Henry would have done it. Derrick Henry would have broke it. Derrick Henry's one of the greatest freaking running backs.
yeah, but where
we've
did
seen
Derrick
out of
Henry
college
have
football.
to play?
Derrick Henry had to play at the
He-
university.
He had to play in the SEC.
See, yeah,
It's just the reality. Like, you're playing better defenses, you're not going to put up as good
Yeah,
of numbers.
okay. All right, Jesse.
He still ran all over.
Well,
the
dude,
place.
Boise State has one of the best offensive lines in the nation.
Jesse, you said 2015, right? What was the best team that they went through SEC play in 2015? And out for Alabama?
I don't even know.
Exactly.
Okay, but what I'm saying
Exactly.
is, listen,
Don't give me
y'all,
that nonsense.
y'all are
against Oregon.
Don't give me that nonsense.
He did.
Listen,
And Genty,
Y'all-
and everybody knows number 2 is getting the ball. That's
Everybody knows.
different than when Derrick Henry has an arsenal of studs around him.
well, y'all are assuming things right now that I'm not saying. Okay, look,
You're implying them.
no, I'm not at all. Okay, stop. Stop.
You were implying a little bit about Genty not being like as credited because it's not SEC ball.
Look. Let me.
Nah,
So
you
there were
were-
several things that happened there that I have to address real quick.
You were hating on him a little bit.
Genty,
Skip backtracking.
Genty is the Heisman. Okay, they would be wrong to not give that kid the Heisman for the sole purpose of if you take him off of Boise State, they're not as good. Okay,
Same
Travis
thing for
Hunter?
Travis Hunter though. Probably
he's not as good, but who's worse off without their guy?
Boise State.
Boise State. That's what the Heisman
Yep.
should be. The Jim Thorpe, you didn't get the Jim Thorpe Hunter because it's a statistic award. That's what it is. You didn't have the stats. You should have known coming into college football. If I'm playing both sides of the ball, all right, then I'm not getting that award. That's just the reality of it.
It's
Okay.
a media award now.
I think it's funny. I think it's funny. Like I watched Travis Hunter get a pick yesterday, and it was like the quarterback just threw it right
They
to
threw
him.
it right to him.
Right
He's
to him.
playing
And
against the
Deion
backup
Sanders.
quarterback.
Deion Sanders like, there he goes again. That boy's just something special. I'm like, dude, you're playing
He's a wide receiver
you're
who
playing
caught
a-
the ball.
You're
That's what
playing a
happened,
bum
yeah.
team, and
Yeah.
he was in a good
But,
spot, and the quarterback made a dumb decision and threw it to him.
My take about Genty not playing in the SEC, I'm just trying to say is like, he still is a phenomenal talent, right? He still is the best running back in the nation.
He's a freak. He's
and he
special.
would
He's
be the
different.
best running back in the nation wherever he played. But I genuinely think the numbers would look different if he was playing SEC ball. Because then I bring up the Derrick. We know what Derrick Henry is, right? But you're playing SEC defenses every week, right? That matters. That has to matter.
And his stats were insane.
His stats were insane, but that's why. So I'm saying that's why Genty's kind of blowing it out the water. You got a kid that could play SEC ball. Like, what if you took Nate Frazier and put him on freaking Kennesaw State? You know what I'm saying?
He'd be good.
What
He'd
if you
ball.
put my player, Genty's my player, and you put him in the Mountain West Conference? And look, they play great football. You're going to get the 4th spot because Boise State's going to win it. Awesome, okay? But I genuinely don't think anybody in this room believes he'd have the same numbers if he was playing the SEC ball.
Maybe had less attempts.
He'd have less attempts, but the defenses are better. Defensive lines are better. Defensive coordinators are better.
Offensive line are better
Red
too,
zone-
though.
Look at
You have other threats. Everybody's not honing in
Bro,
on number
Boise
2
State. Boise State has a hammer of an offensive line. They really do. Those dudes are that offensive line they have. They're
only.
seniors.
Again,
and they're
though,
studs.
there's nothing to compare that to.
So we're doing a small sample size, right? Who's the number 1 team in the country? Oregon. We both say they're fraudulent. I agree. Genty, did he or did he not absolutely run all over
Ran
him?
all over.
Yeah,
him.
he did. But he also had like the 6 touchdowns against Georgia Southern. If you had to play, you played Southern and then you went to Oregon. If you had to play Georgia and then go to Oregon and then the next week play South Carolina and then the next, you know what I'm saying? Like the wear and tear of the season. Again, the kid is a stud.
I just watched a
Yeah,
little
no.
white boy from Georgia Tech run for over 100-something yards against Georgia. So
Yeah.
at this
Maybe
point,
Georgia was not the best.
at this
example,
point, I don't know.
but again, don't take what I'm saying as if to discredit anything that he's doing.
I get it.
I'm not. I'm just like,
I got what you're
and
saying.
then also the asterisk. I don't care what anybody says. I'm a homer.
Raise your hand if you're voting for Genty for Heisman.
Barry Sanders still has the record.
Raise
though.
your hand if you think Travis Hunter's
I still disagree with that.
No, Barry Sanders has the record. Barry Sanders will always have the record. Greatest running back to ever play the game is Barry Sanders.
It's going to break the record because don't even get me started with the Babe Ruth, Roger Maris argument. But let's move on.
Why
everybody have
can't we
their
acknowledge that they're not?
Does
the same?
everybody
I'm
have
not ready
their
to move on.
brackets? Does everybody have their
Yeah,
brackets?
I've already got it pulled up and
Why,
ready to
why
go.
can't we acknowledge that they're not
Don't
the
worry.
same?
We're going on to our
You're
brackets.
gonna get to yell during this.
Yes.
Okay.
Moving on to our brackets.
That's not accurate. though,
All right.
Y'all are
Here,
sports guys.
you know-
Brackets.
Listen, I'll go ahead and
You got your
start with
bracket?
my bracket. No, here we go.
Hey, go warm up the car.
Yeah, here
All
we
right,
go.
hold on. Let me introduce what we're doing. So we're all going to give our take of what we think it's going to be after this weekend, after Saturday's mayhem that's about to happen. What do we think it's going to look like based on like who's going to win conference championships, who's going to get the first 4 seeds, what other conference champions will make it, and I'm not going to lie, this has been a very heated argument all day.
Yeah.
And when I came to Jesse with this originally, I had a team set out in a bracket laid out, and Jesse told me something, and it completely made sense. And I was all on board up until
Mistake number 1.
7 o'clock this afternoon when DB's point was correct that he thinks the committee is full of crap because they are full of crap. And they're going to say no longer to the whole, hey, just because you make it, we're going to credit you for that. Like,
Yeah.
no, they're still saying based upon how the game goes is how they're going to rank you. So there's no criteria, which I agree Jesse's theory of having a criteria the way the criteria should be is 100% accurate.
And they never have had.
But DB is correct in the sense that he understands how terribly made this committee is and how dumb these athletic directors are because they are absolute idiots. With that being said, Brandon, lead me off with your top 12. We're going to go through top 12 first.
So timeout. I say we all say our brackets and then discuss everyone's one by one.
Yeah.
I think we'd get through everyone's faster.
I think we need to just go through 1 through 12. And then we
All
can
right. Yeah. All right.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Number one, Oregon. Number 2 is going to be the Dogs because we're taking care of business on Saturday. We've had 4 weeks in a row. We've played like crap. Underdog for the first time in a while. Kirby Smart's going to fuel that. Number 3, I got SMU. I think SMU is going to steamroll Clemson.
Yep.
And then give me Boise State.
I'm gonna line them up in there.
So in my 5 against 12, I have Arizona State going to Texas.
Hold on, just name it 5 through 12. 5. Who's your 5?
Texas.
Okay. Who's your 6?
Ohio State. 7 is Notre Dame. No. Yeah. 7's Notre Dame.
Yep.
Well, I did this. So I didn't do it like that. So my 5 versus 12 game, I have Arizona State and Texas. My 9 versus 8, I have Indiana and Penn State.
Okay.
So yeah.
10 versus 7, I have Tennessee and Notre Dame.
Okay.
And then 11 versus 6, I have Bama and Ohio State.
All right, Dave, give me your top 12.
So 1 Oregon, 2 UGA, 3 Boise State. I think we're all similar there. 4 I have Arizona State.
No, we're not.
You're not similar.
Mm-mm.
No, you're different there.
I said 1 through 3 were the same.
No, they're not. We all have SMU.
Oh, okay.
At 3.
Never mind. Sorry. 3 Boise State, 4 Arizona State,
Okay.
5 Notre Dame, 6 Texas, 7 Penn State, 8 Tennessee,
Okay.
9 Ohio State, 10 Indiana, 11 SMU, 12 Clemson.
Wow. Chaos. Wow.
Chaos bracket.
Horrible.
That's
More. You're up.
The only difference is you think SMU's going to light it up through there, and I don't.
I think SMU beats the brakes off of Clemson.
You hope it won't.
Never mind.
I don't have to
You're right,
hope,
baby.
brother. Hope's not a strategy.
Maybe you're right.
Let's see. Number 1, I got Oregon.
You've
Number
been right
2,
about a
I
lot
got.
tonight.
What'd you say?
Nothing. Go
He's
ahead,
talking
Ryan.
smack. He said nothing. Go ahead. Go. Give Jesse's respect.
skip
Go.
this.
Go.
Number 1, I got Oregon.
Yep.
Number 2, I got UGA when
Yep.
they beat Texas. Number 3, I got SMU when they
Mhm.
slaughter Clemson. And number 4, I got Boise State. So those are your 4 highest ranked conference champions. Number 5, let me find number 5. Texas.
Okay.
6 is Penn State. 7 is Notre Dame. 8 is Ohio State. 9 is Tennessee. 10 is Indiana. 11 is Bama. And 12 is Arizona State as the 5th conference champion, the lowest ranked conference champion.
Okay. It's good. Okay. Well, mine's a little different. And this was the one I originally made, so I'm going to stick with it. I did just kind of cross out one team just because I saw the previous rankings in Ohio State.
That's
still,
such a cheat, man. I made this. I would like to say my bracket has not changed since yesterday afternoon.
Mine hasn't either.
Okay,
all-
I respect you for that.
I like to kind of roll with the punches on things. I originally had South Carolina at 11, but then I found out that that's not even a possibility at the moment. So I put Ohio State there
Which is
because before they had that, I was really discrediting Ohio State for their loss, but I forgot how much the playoff committee freaking just loves Ryan Day and them Buckeyes. They just freaking love them. That just pisses me off. So okay, Ohio State, you're gonna take 11 for me. 1 Oregon, 2 Georgia, 3 SMU, 4 Boise State, 5 Notre Dame, 6 Penn State, 7 Tennessee, 8 Indiana, 9 Texas, because Georgia beats them 45-3.
You have them dropping from.
So bad.
You have them dropping
So
that
bad.
far.
10 Alabama, 11 Ohio State, 12 Arizona State. Here's my theory behind Texas. We're going to beat them more than we did the first time. They're going to realize they really don't have a chance at beating Georgia, so we're going to drop them way down. They just got beat by the same team twice. You know how hard it is to lose the same team twice?
Very hard.
Texas is in favor in this game.
Yeah.
And now
So-
the committee's going to say, dang, they lost to the same team 2 times. Do we really want to see them in the Natty? We're going to drop them down a little bit and give them that not home field advantage.
So
But
I think that's
again, that's just me being chaotic.
Whose bracket are we going to start with?
We'll start with Brandon.
well, no, I want to talk about yours for a second here. Dude, that dropping Texas that far is crazy, but I'm with you here. And I thought it last week when I said A&M. I said it last week and I said A&M's going to beat them. I don't think Texas is that good.
No, they're not.
I mean, they haven't beaten a single really solid team this year. They played one really good team, and we played a horrible game on offense and still beat them by 15 at their place. I would argue that this is a home game for Georgia. Atlanta is going to be filled to the brim in red and black.
Yep.
And Kirby is going to have them boys ready. Georgia wins 34-17.
It's gonna be a big win. It's gonna be a big win, and
Talk about your
it's gonna thoroughly hurt
So-
the Texas Longhorns.
So I wanted to put South Carolina in on my bracket, but that hurts me to see that. But if for some reason the University of Georgia does somehow slip up this Saturday, I pray
Don't
to
speak that eagle.
I don't. It's not going to happen. But I pray to God
Sage the room.
they let Indiana come to Athens, Georgia, and they go back up north
That would be sweet.
on the end of another
No, that would be
65 to
awesome.
7 win for the Georgia Bulldogs.
I would love that.
But I think this is the worst playoff committee they've ever had.
All right, so who was
Clueless.
your 12-5?
Arizona State and Texas.
Obviously Texas wins.
Yeah, so I
Texas
went all the way down. I did every round after that.
Oh, go through it. That's what I'm
So
trying to tell you.
then-
Go through it.
So I have Oregon playing Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Boise plays Texas. The Dogs play Notre Dame. SMU plays Ohio State. Then I have the Dogs against Ohio State. Texas against Oregon. Then I have a Georgia-Oregon natty.
Dogs win.
Well, we didn't go there to lose. We're winning it.
Dogs win. Go through your bracket.
All right, yeah. So, mine's simple. I mean, at 5, Notre Dame, and 12, Clemson. Notre Dame wins. At 6, Texas, 11, SMU. Texas wins. 7 and 10, Penn State, Indiana. Penn State wins. And then 8 and 9, I'm going to give the nod to Tennessee. I mean, I'm going here with all the home teams winning their games. I do believe Tennessee will beat Oregon. I do genuinely believe that. I do also genuinely believe that Notre Dame will beat the brakes off of Arizona State because their defensive front is a lot better than anything Arizona State has seen in the Big 12. I think Georgia beats the living you-know-what out of they would play Penn State.
Yep, that won't even be a game.
I do. And then, yeah. And I think Texas rolls through that as well with who they're playing, which is Boise State. And then in the semifinal, you're going to get Georgia and Texas part 3. It's bound to happen.
That'd be cool.
And on the other side, you're going to get Tennessee and Notre Dame. And Tennessee's going to win, and Georgia's going to win, and Georgia's going to beat Tennessee in the national championship.
I have Georgia and Tennessee in the national championship.
But what's going to happen is Tennessee's first game is going to be the biggest test. Ohio State.
Yeah.
It is, and that's going to whoever. The reality situation is Tennessee and Oregon in this scenario play each other. Who wins that game plays in the Natty.
I think
And I think Tennessee has the edge.
I think that you're going to see after this year, they're going to change some things. I would hate to be Oregon waiting on that 8 and 9 game.
Yep.
I would much rather be, first off, the best spot in the college football playoffs is 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Like, I would even say 6 is up there, but 5, I mean, 5 is the best.
Yeah.
Because you beat number 12, and then you have to turn around and play number 4, who is the 4th best conference champion.
And you're almost guaranteeing, which
So
we disagreed on this.
5 and 12 play
Play
4.
4.
Winner of 5 and 12 play 4.
4. Okay.
Right, but
Okay.
8 and 9, and this year's 8 and 9, it's gonna be Tennessee and Ohio State.
Which
And Oregon has to sit back and watch, and then play them. It's gonna be tough.
it is. And my whole bracket is based off of one thing. The college football committee, right, makes their picks and they send them to who? To be presented. ESPN. Right. This playoff, while football we love to death, at the end of the day, it will continue as long as there's expansion, be a money grab.
But then there's no. They have to have representation from
Right.
East to West.
So like think about this, right? How cool would it be first round to see Notre Dame and Clemson play each other?
Pretty boring.
Right. Well, that's what you think, but a lot of people who are not SEC country are going to love that.
Yeah.
Right. People in Texas are going to lick their chops for an SMU and Texas game.
I think.
I think people are going to love seeing a Big Ten go at it each other, and people are going to love an Ohio State team going to Tennessee.
They wouldn't go. I have.
Bama and Ohio State would be crazy.
Let me go through mine real quick,
Go
okay?
ahead.
So I would like to say that mine very closely matched what the rankings are right now, which I was actually very proud of because I made it before the rankings came out. I know that I'd said that I made it based off of criteria, and then y'all was like, the dude said that they're being subjective, and he was talking about the Miami behind Bama, right? That's what he was talking about.
Yeah, but he was making a general.
Can I be honest? I don't think the rankings are going to change that much after this weekend.
No, he genuinely said based upon how the championship games go will be where they think they should either move them or kick them out.
But I think teams only move because teams lower won their conference championship. Does that make sense? Like if Georgia beats when Georgia beats Texas, teams are going to have to move because now Georgia has to jump to the 2. Everybody below has to slide down. I think it's going to be like that effect.
I agree. So let's just say then, Jesse, Clemson does beat SMU.
I mean, I don't think it's going to happen, but if Clemson does beat SMU, then you have Clemson's in at 12.
And is SMU out?
SMU could be 10, 11.
Right.
I think that would shake everything up, which it'd be exciting.
And I'll tell you this right now. The ACC will do what it can. They're right. They're guaranteed 1, but they will do everything in their power to guarantee, or close to guaranteeing. I saw that, by the way. Have 2. That is outrageous.
What even is that? I don't even want to.
That is outrageous.
We'll show you after the pod.
Yeah.
All right. I sidetracked. I'm sorry. Let me go through this. Okay. But I see what you're saying. Clemson beats SMU. That shakes everything up. I just don't think Clemson has it in them. But regardless, where does the ACC even play their conference championship?
Charlotte.
That's a horrible city. So like I said, I got 1 Oregon, 2 Georgia, 3 SMU, 4 Boise State. Let's go through this. Okay, so I got for the 5 versus 12, Texas beats Arizona State. It was a great run, Arizona State, but Texas is just a better football team. Penn State and Bama. So Penn State at 6, Bama at 11. Bama beats Penn State. Notre Dame at 7 and Indiana at 10. It was a good run, Indiana, but Notre Dame beat you. And then I have Ohio State and Tennessee. I got Tennessee beating Ohio State in the horseshoe. Okay. Let's see. Then 1 plays Tennessee. I got Tennessee beating Oregon. I think there's more physical football. I got Notre Dame versus Georgia. I think Georgia handles them pretty convincingly because Notre Dame does not have a quarterback. SMU versus Bama. I think surprisingly a very good game that I hope lasts 12 overtimes.
Who and who again?
SMU and Bama.
Oh.
I think a very good game. I think Bama beats them in the end to set up the rematch between UGA and Bama. And then Boise State and Texas. Texas is just too deep. Texas beats them. Then you got an all SEC semifinals, which the committee would hate, but I would love. And I can't believe that it made sense to me to put it together like this. But Tennessee plays Texas. Tennessee beats Texas.
Yep.
UGA plays Bama. Great game. UGA beats Bama. You end up with a Tennessee versus UGA game. In Atlanta, UGA beats them.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I think Georgia's gonna play Bama again.
I think Georgia does play
And
Bama again.
I want to play Bama again.
I do not want to play Bama again.
When
but
we
I
lost
love
to
it.
Bama, I had such a bad taste in my mouth. It was terrible. I wanted to play them again.
And Kalen DeBoer will do that to people.
We sat there and watched that game and went through an emotional roller coaster.
It was terrible.
In this room.
So what was your finals?
UGA versus Tennessee.
That's the same as
Yeah,
yours.
so we ended up in the
Yours,
same
right?
result. Didn't
Was that
get
who-
there the same way.
I said Georgia, Oregon.
Georgia, Oregon. You said Georgia, Tennessee.
Yeah.
You said Georgia, Tennessee. You want mine?
Yeah.
All right.
It's your turn.
But I need us to all go to a place of namaste.
I'm good.
And I want you to.
Chaos.
I
Don't
want
feed
you,
me your
no,
communist
no,
crap.
no.
Yeah.
I'm saying I want you to feel
Aren't
this.
all your friends out though?
Can you? I want you guys to picture this, all right? Because this is poetic.
I doubt it.
Shh. No, it is.
Edgar Allan Poe was a poet, and it was
Okay.
kind of dark.
Even with my chaotic placings.
I could guess.
Arizona State, Notre Dame.
You have Arizona State beating Notre Dame?
Notre Dame wins.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's how you start this off with a
I
banger.
I know where this ends.
Indiana, Texas.
Texas.
Can I go with from where I know this ends?
No.
Texas.
Guess what?
No, let's just see. Just tell me. I'll believe you if you think it's where it is or not. Texas moves on. Okay. Texas is now playing Oregon, where Texas will thump them.
Thump is a strong word.
Thump them. And Texas will move on. Notre Dame will play Boise State, where the Genty train, unfortunately, will stop rolling, and he'll have a great game, but Notre Dame will convincingly whip Boise State.
I think Boise State beats Notre Dame. If
I
they
think you're
play.
dumb. And then I think then Notre Dame and Texas will show off in a very low scoring game, very defensive, not very satisfying to watch, and Texas will win. Okay. Penn State will play Ohio State. Ohio State will destroy Penn State.
Oh yeah.
So they're gonna have a rematch.
See,
That's not the only one.
My initial bracket, I had them two playing each other, but I was like, they're not going to have a regular season rematch in the first round.
They
They're
might.
just not going to.
Penn State, Ohio State play. Ohio State moves on to play SMU. Okay. On the other side, Tennessee, Alabama play. Rematch at Neyland Stadium, right?
Neyland.
Excuse me. Neyland Stadium.
Rocket Top, oh Rocket Top.
Maybe throw up my orange. Alabama beats Tennessee.
No.
Bama plays Georgia, and that sour taste in our mouth that we hate so much, that Kirby hates the narrative that Bama owns Georgia, and Kirby comes out and absolutely whips Kalen DeBoer on national television and embarrasses him in front of everyone. And the dogs are hot.
Easy, Jesse's getting pissed.
The dogs are hot.
I'm hot right now, bro.
The dogs are hot, and they
I
move
want him
on.
to have fun. Is he at least having fun?
No, he's not.
In this narrative, he's not having fun?
No, he's not. He
Gosh,
had a
dude.
terrible time. They just lost 45-0. Now the dogs will move on to play Ohio State.
Oh, thumping.
And we know we love watching Ohio State get whipped. And Kirby does that. He bends little Ryan Day over and spanks them all night. Right? He does. Just beats the piss out of them.
Bro.
So
His
then,
kids watching this.
Jesus Christ, students are gonna ask me about this tomorrow.
are spanking? You ever been spanked before? That's what's wrong with you. You
I
never
got
been
beat
spanked.
like a redheaded
BTA.
Georgia, Ohio State. Georgia wins. Now we have the third rematch of Georgia, Texas. But guess what? Guess what happens?
They beat him 3 times.
They think Quinn Ewers was the problem in game one.
You're like, they
In
put
game
Manning
two.
in.
So they bring in Arch
Oh my gosh.
Manning to start and play the whole game. And you know what? It's a slugfest. It's a tight game. And my boy, my favorite player, wins the game. Woody for 3. Walk-off winner. Dogs beat Texas 3 times. Dogs national champions.
Can I say something real quick? Your bracket sounds like it was built by somebody whose favorite player is a kicker. That's very par for the course.
I want to say this. You said you had the whole script downstairs. This is a Hallmark movie at best.
Beautiful.
No, it is god awful.
Give me that.
Terrible
Yeah,
acting.
I love Hallmark movies. Hallmark movies are my favorite. All right, let's laugh it
That
up.
was worse. Can I be honest with you? Can I be honest with you? That was worse. I would rather watch an NFL special on Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's relationship than to have to go through you breaking down your bracket again. Like that, dude, I love you. I love you. I do not think any second you think that that is going to happen. That you truly, in your heart of hearts, think that that's.
No, he does. That's the scary part.
You are a Hallmark movie. That was
All
good.
right. Yeah,
Look.
that was. I don't have words. For
I
that.
prefer the
Thank you.
term Disney character.
No,
Okay.
you are a
Well,
low
there's a reason
budget.
Disney movies are flopping.
Yeah. All right. So
Hey, my niece said Moana 2
Yeah.
was good.
It's a great movie.
hey, we've
Dancing with the Stars.
we've been going at this for a while, so let's pick the conference championship games here.
I think we just did.
No, like let's pick the games, all the games this weekend.
We just did.
No. Did we pick Miami, Ohio, and Ohio?
Dude.
All right. So how
Did we
bad
play
is
football?
no? Let's do one. How bad is Oregon going to beat Penn State? It's going to be a
we can pick spreads.
well, like Boise and
What time is
ULV. I think that game's it's 9:08.
Okay.
Yeah, we gotta start wrapping it up.
What's the spread on Boise and UNLV?
4.
Let's just say if they cover or don't.
Okay.
4. I think
Spread?
it's yes. I think it's a 3-point game. tops.
I think UNLV.
I think UNLV can upset them. I really do.
Yeah, and that would make things so much worse because then do you take Boise out or not?
Yeah. So let's just do like the big ones: Arizona
What if
State and
Clemson
Iowa
beats
State.
SMU? Georgia beats. What if all the underdogs win?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So
How would
Arizona
that
State and
be
Iowa
changed?
State's
How
2.
fun would that be?
Chaos.
Would Georgia go to number 1?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be
That's
terrible.
the only scenarios that Penn State upsets. Well, no,
Yeah.
Penn State
Nah,
would be
Penn
above
State
Georgia.
jumps us.
Hey, so Arizona State and Iowa State's a 2-point spread. Arizona State covers that with ease.
Arizona State's a 2-point spread?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got them by 9+.
Scattaboo.
Yeah.
And then Georgia, Texas. Texas is 2.5-point favorite. Dogs covered.
I need them to raise that number.
Dogs covered 7.5.
I need them to raise that number. I need Kirby to have these
Yeah.
boys fired up.
Oregon's a 3.5-point favorite. They're gonna cover with ease.
I think first half it's going to be close, or then Oregon covers by 13.5.
Yeah. Oregon covers big.
Sure.
All right, last one. SMU 2.5 points. Covering it.
Covered.
Clemson wins outright. I generally believe that.
Jesse?
I got SMU by 50, bro. Clemson
Yeah.
sucks.
I think that's it. Unless you want to do the
All right.
Falcons play this week. The Falcons play the Vikings, and the Vikings are probably going to put it on us.
Well, no, those are the games that the Falcons win.
Give me the Dirty
Falcons
Birds.
Turn around and lose.
Yeah, Falcons will freaking win somehow.
Yeah.
Bijan looked good the other day.
Bijan did. You know who his mentor is? You know who his mentor is?
Never heard of him.
Matthew McConaughey.
Bo Hanna.
All right, so I'm gonna end the podcast with this. This time of the year, most women are watching one channel, and it's my channel this year, the Hallmark Channel. My narrative is gonna win it. It's Christmas time,
Someone
and
say
the
something
dogs,
else. Someone say
and the
something else.
dogs.
This is outrageous.
Thank you for watching this episode of
And the
Hot Dog
dogs.
Sports. We're going to edit all this out. See you next week.
No, they're not, because they don't do anything except show up.
This is bad.
Dogs are gonna
You're
win
better than this.
in my way.
You're better than this.
Oh.
Hold on,
Watch out,
hold on.
Arch Manning. See you in the Super Bowl. I mean, the national championship.
Super Bowl. Yeah. Well, real quick.
See you, Daddy.
See you in the World Series, Arch. Real quick. Whoever's bracket is the closest after this weekend. I mean, I assume we're gonna do this podcast again next Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
And we'll see the final bracket. When my bracket's correct, what do I get?
You don't get anything because you're an idiot because you're thinking logically still.
You get called Skip Bayless, not Skip Bayless Jr.
Yeah.
You
You get a
upgrade.
participation award.
Isn't that worse?
Yeah, it is.
No, because that means you're trying to be like Skip Bayless. Now you're at least Skip Bayless.
Yeah.
I don't. Can I say something about that?
No, that's it. In the
No.
show.
That's it.
Thanks for watching.
I don't.
Thanks for
I don't-
watching.
I am not a fan of
Go
Skip
Dogs.
Bayless.